So let's talk about the medical side of fasting. What are some of those considerations? And to help us out with this, I have Cindy Hall. And Cindy, tell them kind of what you do. Why should we listen to you about this?
Well, I don't know if you need to, but I am a family nurse practitioner in Chatsworth, and I've done it for almost 25 years.
Okay, so hey,
Mm.
you are the person that when you come to church, everybody wants to ask you their medical
I
questions, so they
do
don't have to
get
pay
some
copay.
medical questions.
You gotta
Yeah,
love that.
I do.
Go to church and people they don't have the copay if they can just ask you, right? See,
Wow.
you probably
Put
shouldn't
me
do
on
that.
the spot. Yeah.
Probably shouldn't do that. But okay, so yeah, Cindy knows a whole lot about the medical side of this, and so I kind of sent her some questions to do some research, and so let's just kind of roll through some questions
Yeah.
here to consider about fasting. First of all, medically, what are some of the considerations that just generally we all need to have, but even maybe some of the special conditions where maybe
Okay.
this isn't a good plan for them?
Okay. Well, first of all, if you do have a lot of like medical problems or chronic medical problems, you probably want to just touch base with your doctor just to make sure you're good to do it. But there are certain classes of people that might not do so well fasting. That would be people with like uncontrolled heart conditions or uncontrolled diabetics, maybe people that are underweight or have had an eating disorder. Sometimes fasting can be a trigger for that. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, you wouldn't want to do it. Or if you're even recovering from like a surgery.
Okay, so let's
Mm-hmm.
say you're diabetic, and but we're calling the church to fast for the first week of the year. What could you do?
You may not give up food completely, but you may want to cut your calories back. A lot of research I've done says that if you can even cut them back to 500 calories a day and do pretty good. Or you might just want to give up the things diabetics are not supposed to eat anyway,
Yeah,
like your simple sugars or your sweets or things that would make your blood sugar bad anyway.
and I hadn't really thought about that, but I talked Sunday with our church about one of the things with fasting is you want to feel it, and I can
Mm-hmm.
imagine at 500 calories, you really
You
feel
would
that.
feel it. You would.
Yeah, and so you'd have some of those same experiences in seeking the Lord, even though you can't do it exactly like everybody else can. Man, you can do it with the same spirit. But
And with simple sugars, we really crave that. It's almost
yeah,
like an addiction. So when you just try to give up simple sugars or carbohydrates, you're going to crave those.
yeah, I
You'll
know.
feel it. You'll feel it.
I can feel that, right?
Yeah.
I can feel it just talking about it. So let's talk about like how to get ready. Right? So if we're going into a period of fasting, it's probably not it's what's going to make it tough. So we're going from New Year's Eve to New Year's Day when we're
Mm-hmm.
starting this. But as a general practice, what should people do to kind of get prepared for a fast?
Well, I guess our tendency would be to go eat everything we were not going to be able to
Yeah.
have for the next few days, but that's really not a good idea.
So
You want
binging is
to,
bad.
binging is bad. What you want to do is to kind of start cutting your calories back for several days before you start the fast.
Okay. So that kind
Yeah,
of gets your body ready for it.
ready.
So let's talk about what you're going to feel. Day one.
Well, day one, the first 4 hours, you're just going to be processing what you ate. So you should be pretty good there. Some of us don't make it more than 4 hours, but if we do, you make it up to 16 hours, your body's just going to be catabolizing the stored energy that you have in your cells. So you should feel pretty good. You should
All
have
right.
pretty good energy.
So we're going into dinner time. We're still feeling okay, right?
Yeah, you should feel pretty good. And then when you get to day 1 to 2 or past that, then you're going to start really feeling that intense part of fasting. That's when usually the hunger is most intense, and you're going to start having some physical changes like your blood pressure is going to drop, your blood sugar is going to drop, even your heart rate can slow down a little
So
bit.
this is where you feel kind of shaky,
You're going to
right?
get the headaches, you're going to get the dizziness, even bad breath.
Yeah.
You're going to go into some ketosis, so you might have a like a funky taste in your mouth. You might have to buy you some breath mints or something like that. And you know,
Yeah.
you're
So,
gonna
so there's different ways of fast. There's the total fast, which is food and water. But some people, it's just food. So I've read and I've actually practiced this too and had the same, God still do great things, but I've used juice at times just to
mm-hmm,
kind of when I have those bad shaky moments, maybe some
Yeah.
juice or some broth or something like that.
You can do like a protein broth or even add some collagen to it. And then you can do
That's a
the
good idea.
vegetable juices or the fruit juices.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about 3-4 days. If somebody's really going to kind of try to stretch it out there, what do you start kind of feeling after three days plus?
That's when you're really going to start kind of slowing down metabolically. You're going to feel a little bit more fatigue. You're going to have the dizziness. It's going to be real important at this point that you stay hydrated and don't become dehydrated. But something really interesting at day 3 is that your immune system, it kind of does like a total reset. It gets rid of all the bad cells and, resets. And, in a day of COVID and flu and everything else, we all need our immune systems to
Yeah.
be good.
So there's a lot of health benefits to this.
It's called autophagy.
Yeah. So, in the book of Isaiah, he talks about in Isaiah 58, man, your healing will come upon you speedily when we fast. So there are a lot of health benefits to fasting as well.
There's also a factor in your brain on day 3 that's released. It's called the BDNF. I always have to look at those initials, but it's like a factor that's released from your brain that makes you really cognitively really sharp. And they're even doing studies with this that it can help prevent Alzheimer's and longevity in life. So they're looking at that even in treating Alzheimer's.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Now, I've never done a food fast more than 3 days. I've done 30 days of different kinds of fast. But it's interesting you say that because I was writing on my blog just today. So I have a hard time sleeping when I fast because I am so hungry, especially those first couple of days. But I don't wake up weary, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, man. I wake up like ready to go. So that would kind of explain why. Yeah. So you kind of have these moments of clarity. So that makes a lot of sense. So so we've talked about maybe some alternatives. We've talked about some medical conditions you might want to consider. We've talked about the different things that you feel along the way. So let's say a person has fasted food for, I think you're okay if I've fasted 1, 2, 3 days food and you eat that next meal and you're okay. But after about 3 days, breaking a fast, there's also kind of a consideration of that. What would you do if you've been fasting for several days?
Well, you definitely don't want to just run to the buffet.
Yeah, you don't want to hit Golden Corral, right?
They say to do really unrefined foods, maybe like simple proteins like fish or chicken or vegetables or things like that to start back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this last question. So if a person says, man, there's a lot of things to it, and I really don't think I can fast food. What would you say to them? What would you challenge them with?
To give up something that hurts.
Yeah, you got to feel it somewhere, right?
Yeah. But you could do the lesser calories, do the 500 calories, or give up carbohydrates and do lean protein, chicken, fish, and veggies. Do that all day.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah. You could even fast your phone, different things like that. Yeah. So
social media, any of that.
Yeah. A lot of things that, man, it's just really about a reset, feeling it somehow and going after God. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think this is helpful. And hey, I appreciate people kind of tuning in and watching this, and hopefully this gives you some good information. And if there's more, there is lots of info out there that you can look up to help you on your fasting. So thank you, Cindy, for giving us some
and if you have
good info here.
I'm available.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.